Well, as the new look season got underway a couple of weeks ago, it was a surprise winner in Kenneth Tier as we opened up the season at Daytona. But this season will go very quickly indeed. We have just 8 rounds of action across 7 evenings between now and December. And we can't wait to see who's going to be the Season 8 champion of the Bohlin Svenska iRacing. It's myself, Cam Roger, Ewan O'Leary alongside me, and Hugo Louise on the production of this RaceSpotTV broadcast as we bring you the Mabi 350 here from Chicagoland, round 2 of the season. As I say, we started at Daytona a couple of weeks ago before moving to Chicagoland. We go to Charlotte, Phoenix, Iowa for a double header. So there will be 2 races that evening with Pocono and Las Vegas to round out the calendar. So there'll be 8 races across the 7 evenings. And of course, last year we had the full-length calendar with a playoff and everything, but now it's just 7 rounds, 8 races, and who gets the most points. The old school way, if you will. Kenneth Tier leads after winning that race with an insane finish at the end. He managed to hold on. Alex Eracingligan snuck his way through from about 8th place on the final restart, and Marcus Stiller got on the podium after starting from the back of the grid. Linus Broström and Jesper Eriksson, they were just inside the top 6 after some difficult races. And then, of course, we have plenty of other drivers still in the mix with the points not being separated very far after just 1 round of action. But certainly tonight, Chicagoland is going to be a whole load of fun. As any track, we have 4 corners, but you're always turning at this circuit. The front straight is very much curved, and even the back straight has a curve as well. It's almost a big bowl, and it's certainly going to be a lot of fun tonight as we get into the qualifying session. And Ewan, I mean, of course, a new season always throws up some surprises, but I don't think many people would have said Kenneth Tier would have got his first ever victory at Daytona.
Yeah, I think if there's any place you're going to get it, then maybe it would be Daytona. But it was a bit of a surprise 2 weeks ago to see that first time winner. It was great, though. It was absolutely fantastic, and thoroughly enjoyed that first race from Daytona. This is going to be a bit different, though. This is such a unique circuit, Chicagoland. I think now, before you could compare it to Auto Club Speedway at Fontana, where we actually started last year, I think, if I remember correctly. This time last year we started our calendar, but this is a unique circuit now because Auto Club has been closed. It's been demolished, and it's going to be remade as it was going to be remade as a much smaller racetrack, another short track, although that's been put on pause. This is sort of the last remaining of those sort of big circuit, as you say, always turning around. And yeah, it just reminds me of Auto Club a little bit. Maybe a bit of a narrow Auto Club, but it's very similar. And hopefully we'll see some good racing around here tonight. Maybe a more normal field look compared to Daytona, which is always a little bit weird.
Yeah, of course, we went back to the next-gen cars after being in the Xfinity ones last year, and that just changes things a little bit of how the tyres work and everything. We are now having stage cautions as well. We used to run green through the stage. Now we have the yellow flag come out, which of course changes the sort of strategies throughout the race. We only have 4 sets of tyres, so it will end up being very limited on tyres for a green-white checker at the end. We have just 20 seconds left in the qualifying session. Jesper Eriksson back in his familiar place up towards the front. Got Jonas Gunnarsson, your champion from a couple of seasons ago, following him at this moment in time. Edvin Forsson as well in the 27 jumps up into 3rd place, and Linus Broström is there in 4th. And Eracingligan is your top 5 as we get towards the end of the session. We have plenty of drivers out there on the track, 28 of them to be exact, going for victory tonight, and I think it is going to be a very hard-fought battle. We're going to have, I would assume, a few cautions come out here and there. That can always change things a little bit because, as I mentioned, with that tyre limit, you can't just keep putting new tyres on all the time. Here's your grid, though, for the Mabi 350, second round of the season. We've got Eriksson on the front row with Jonas Gunnarsson alongside him, Forsson and Broström on your second row, with Eracingligan and Oliver Bohlin inside the top 6. Sapolsky Logisticsing 3 cars there alongside the Simrace Sweden's 2. Eriksson and Uvinen are on your 4th row with Lundberg and Schott. Then it's Gantz and Fredriksson inside your top 12. Lars Boker is there in 13th place with Joel Wallen, Henrik Lindhoff, Kjellberg, Kenneth Tier, your winner from last race, and Forsberg as well. Lundqvist, Eck, Broström, Holmer, Leuven, and Peter Helmbro down in 24th place. And on the last page, we've got Jökesjö, Erling, Stiller, and Motin. 4 drivers not setting a lap time. And once again, Marcus Stiller starting from the back by choice. Let's see how far he's going to get up the grid. There we are. We got 145 laps, stage on 60. With the fuel window not quite going to the stage, we will be seeing a pit stop beforehand.
We should do, yeah. I do wonder whether someone's going to try and stretch their fuel tank all the way out to there, because if there are some cautions, then it will be possible. Probably 2 or 3 maybe cautions required for that. And of course, there'll be other drivers who come in for new tyres, which will automatically gobble you up. So, yeah, you'd imagine we'll see pit stops from everybody before the stage on lap 60. Only 4 tyre sets throughout those, so 3 tyre changes to be made throughout the day. You don't really want to be making a tyre change sort of halfway through the first stage and then at the stage break as well. I think that uses, you're on your 3rd tyre set then with still 80 laps to go, so that might be reserved for a little bit later. Maybe we'll just see some very short fuel stops under green if indeed we get green flag pit stops today.
That's very true, because what we saw last time, Ewan, was now that we have the caution at the stage break, we saw a 1 stop until the stage, another stop at the stage, and then obviously another one to get to the finish. So they're your 3 pit stops, your 4 sets of tyres for the race. It doesn't leave you any margin if we get some cautions towards the end. So it'd be very interesting if people do, as you say, where they try and sneak that tyre stint to the stage break caution, and then maybe they'll have an extra set left at the end, because that could be the theme of the season, with how it looks, with how the strategy is going to be. That could be a bit of a theme, trying to save that tyre for a caution in the last 10-15 laps of a race.
It just depends how strenuous this circuit is on the tyres, really. If it's not actually that bad, I haven't seen a race around here for a long time, so I don't actually know. But if it's not actually that bad, then I think that they are going to stretch it out to lap 60, and they'll try and do that first stage without a tyre change. But if it's pretty bad, then they'll be very tempted to do it. There's Oliver Bohlin, who'll be starting on row 3 alongside Alexander Aronson at the beginning of round 2 of our championship. Oliver Bohlin finished last, or at least in points, is tied 20th after a less good Daytona than he would have wanted.
Absolutely, as the drivers come round 3 and 4. Saying about drop-off, we've been told it's about 1.2 to 1.5 seconds that they drop over the fuel run, but the initial drop-off is very fast. So therefore, if we get a green flag pit stop, the drivers doing those laps on the fresh tyres will gain a lot compared to those staying out. So the undercut could be quite crucial if we get green flag stops. However, cautions can be heavy as well. As we come to second round of the Bohlin Svenska Eracingligan, it's the Mabi 350 that gets underway. Jesper Eriksson on that pole position, getting a push from his teammate Forsen in behind as well. And actually Eriksson is going to come up high a little bit to cover off from Gunnarsson on that outside line. What is it going to be, inside, outside today? We'll have to find out.
Yeah, I wonder whether this is the first race where Jesper Eriksson starts to assert the dominance that he held throughout last season, and he starts to impose that here today. He was top 5 at Daytona, so it's not bad at all for that first round, but he dominated last year, and he would like to do the same again here as he comes to the end of the first lap with Forsen in tow, and then Gunnarsson rounding out the top 3.
And look at the massive apron on the inside here. Drivers already using it up to the line at the end of the stage, or maybe even at the end of the race. That could be a crucial point for drivers squabbling for position. You will never know. We've seen here, Tony, even in the 84 machine, he had a solid run out last time at Daytona as well, as Oliver Bohlin jumps Brostrom to get up into 4th place at the end of the second lap. Everyone is getting through here nicely, which is what we like to see. No early cautions, and maybe we can get a bit of a way into this race as the Polski Logistics trio of Bohlin, Brostrom and Aronson, they remain there in the top 6.
Still side by side, just in the lower part of the top 10, while it's all sorted out at the front. Aronson and Brostrom quite close with one another, but this is the first real battle between Bohlin and Hackenschott, who's just on the outside there. You can see Joel Bohlin, that is, on the 10th position at the moment, just being overtaken around the outside by Hackenschott, or at least nearly is, off the 4. They do seem absolutely locked together, these two. It's such a high-speed track, this one.
You're literally, we said this earlier, it's literally a big bowl, like always turning left. This back straight is anything but straight. So I don't know where they count the 4 corners around here, because there's definitely either more or just less. There's just one continuous corner. You're always slightly turning left, always loaded up. Maybe that's why that tyre drop-off is a little bit fast indeed. As we've seen, Eriksson still leading the way by 0.4 of a second. The second he's already got to Oliver Bohlin, so a little bit of a gap forming at the front from the reigning champ. That's a little bit more like it from what we've seen in previous years.
Yeah. Although taking Forsen with him at the moment, who was certainly much stronger in the road series last season, certainly in the Indy cars for 24-25. But at the moment, challenging Ericsson at the front rather nicely. Again, it's just outside the top 10 region of the field where the action all is at the moment. That's Henrik Lindhoff, by the way, in the Simrace Sweden car. But there is Forsen, still with his owl over his shoulder. Any jokes for us this week?
No, I'll leave that one for another day. But we all know who Edwin Forsen is. He's got up into second place, so he's following his teammate after qualifying third. So Ericsson has dropped down 3 places already from that second place finish, second place start, I should say. And he's certainly running solidly at this moment in time. He's one of those drivers who will be consistently up towards the front as the season progresses, and in a season of just 8 races, you are certainly going to have to be up there all the time. If you start missing rounds or having bad races, it's really going to be a struggle to get those points back. It's basically 1 point per position, apart from the gap for the win. So if you're 10, 20 points behind someone, that's a lot of positions you need to get in the final couple of races.
Yeah, it definitely is. You don't want to leave yourself too much in this point system. It always looks like, we've got the first caution here on lap 7. It always looks like you don't need to make up very many positions, but actually when you start to look at it in the last race, it starts to look like a lot. Jens Lundqvist, the only driver seemingly to, and struggling to get back going again as well, but seems to be the only one involved. I wonder whether he was tipped around on the back straight there.
And this is within the lap count. First, let's get the replay. I just lost it himself out of 2. Just a bit of a slide on the low line. He comes up into the wall. That's quite a hard hit as well. He's going to have some damage repairs. Hopefully no one else gets involved. I saw Marcus Stiller was also off the back. There he is, back of the pack, but not involved in this incident at least. And there's the 110 probably having a few issues trying to get back to pit road. We are in the window, Ewan, of having a bit of a splash here and getting to the stage. So someone who's maybe a bit further back, I wouldn't be surprised if they go through pit lane to get the fuel to the stage. And as you say, keep the same set of tyres, save a set for the end of the race. A few drivers coming down pit road, the top 3 or so stay out. But, someone actually decided last minute they're not going to do that. I think that was Gunnarsson with a last minute call to stay out. So the top 3 of Ericsson, Forsen, Wallen, and then Gunnarsson joins them. But quite a few drivers, Broström, Aurudson, Uvenen, Lundberg, Lindhoff, Tier, Hellberg, show loads of them. Basically everyone towards the back, all coming down apart from those top few.
So half and half, effectively, just slightly more going into the pit lane than staying out, but it's short stops all round. I'm not sure I'm seeing many jacks going up, to be honest. So out first for Broström, then Aurudson, Uvenen. Nobody going over 5 seconds yet. Now we see Matthias Kjellberg going for 9.4 seconds. I wonder what he's decided to do in that time, but that will have cost him a couple of positions. Couple of longer stops further back. If there's any slight optionals, you might as well take them if you're further down towards the back. I thought it was going to be one of those where the first driver to come in would sort of lead the rest of the field on pit lane, but didn't turn out to be like that, even despite seeing some in front come in. Some of them further down decided to stay out, and I don't think it's a bad call. It just depends what you think this race is going to be like. If it's going to be filled with cautions, then it's a good idea to come in or stay out right now, because you'll get the track position and you can get to the end of the first stage without a stop, but you will need at least one more caution before you can manage that.
Yes, very intriguing situations as lap 8 brought out the caution, and we're told, at least this is from Linus himself, that field can maybe go 54 laps, but that is, green flag. So with some cautions, you might be able to get to lap 60, which would be very, very interesting indeed. Very, very interesting if we're able to get to that level. But we'll have to see. It looks like we're already lining up again to get going for the restart. So a quick caution for those who went in. It is basically the top 11 that stayed out. Linus Broström was in 12th place. He was the first of those who went into the pit lane. And so the top 11, I should say, they are all stayed out. Of course, the tyres are basically no different, but the extra fuel means those guys can definitely get to the stage, and that is the important bit. So the ones up front, they might have to just do a bit of saving before we get to the stage, and therefore that might slow them down. They might drop further in the pack, but if we keep getting cautions, then it's not really going to affect too much. So the end of lap 10, and we are going to come back to green flag racing. The Mabi 350 here at Chicagoland. And it'll be Ericsson and Forsen, the two teammates on the front row. Then I have Bohlin and Gunnarsson in behind trying to chase them down. As a solid start, and it was just a one-car accident all by himself causing this first caution. So let's see if we can get a repeat of that, as Ericsson takes the green flag once more in the restart zone, and he's absolutely left his teammate for dust. Bohlin gets a good jump there as well, as Forsen is going to drop all the way down. It looks like Fredriksson, his teammates, also jumped him into turn one.
Yeah, Bohlin reacted very well there. You'd think as well that the teammates would coordinate that a little bit between themselves, but if Forsen and Ericsson are not in the same voice chat or anything, then that will be very difficult to do. So it's Bohlin who's going to put the pressure onto Ericsson initially on this restart here, just like what Forsen did off the proper start 10 laps ago. He'll swoop down from the high side now, off of turn 4 into the slipstream and over the line. He's going to have a go down the inside. Here is Bohlin for the race lead.
Certainly is. Is it going to work though? High line for Ericsson, low line for Bohlin. It works mid-corner, but on the exit of 2, he's going to try and cut him up. Oh, maybe the tiniest bit of contact, but no, slides in behind. And that just shows you maybe both lines are going to work today, which could do really nice for some battles as the race progresses. But the 37 holds on to the lead, and 72 has to sit in there behind. Remember, Oliver Bohlin was one of the standout performances from last season. Couldn't keep it going for a run in the playoffs, but certainly a drive to look out for this championship.
Yeah, just look at the uniformity of the sort of shade of grey there. It's slightly darker down low, especially through 1 and 2, but you know, it's not by any means really light up at the top. Oh, as Bohlin just finds the wall on the exit there. 3 wide, and there's going to be trouble. They get away with that. Linus Broström in the middle, very nearly spun by Haraldsson.
Teammate on the exit of 2. The Polski Logistics team managers would not want to be watching that one, as Broström is struggling a little bit here in the pack. Obviously one of the drivers to stop. He's still in 11th place, hasn't made much of a move forward, but again they stopped. But it's all about the fuel. No tyres for any of these drivers as they continue on. They just want to... Oh, caution comes back out though, and we're getting further cautions. Who's that? Is that Forsen up in the wall? Gunnarsson as well. Some drivers who stayed out, and then loads of drivers going low trying to avoid it. We've also got Ericsson there as well. Robert Ericsson, that is in 35 involved.
It looks like that might have started with Forsen up towards the top. Jonas Gunnarsson has also got a meatball. I wonder whether they've made contact, because those two were very close together. Have a look at the reaction. Forsen doesn't seem too phased by it, but he does have a meatball, and he has had to tow back to pit lane. He has the look of a driver who's going to rejoin us tonight, which is good, but he's going to be long delayed by this.
Yeah, no fast repairs, so you got to sit there. Let's see this one. It is the 27 going through nicely at this moment. Oh wow, that is a weird one. Gunnarsson just got tagged as well, so he turned right in a left-hand corner. Unfortunately, Robert Ericsson couldn't slow down. I think as Jokke Schuh getting involved, and a couple of the other Simrace Sweden cars. Let's see this, and a big snap, the tiniest slide, and then a huge bit of overcorrection. I think it's Mabi Oscar Motin also getting involved in the background as well. That is huge contact.
That engine went as well, by the way. I'm pretty sure I heard. Gunnarsson, just clipped it. Damage shouldn't be too bad, though. He was smacked by Ericsson at the end here. Robert Ericsson, there you go. Oh, and another one. Never ends. Gunnarsson getting really shunted there through the final... Oh, dear, and that is quite bad damage, actually. I said he'd get away with it. Certainly not. He'll have quite big damage. Christian Gantz, meantime, comes in. I think this is the first option they've got. But for those who set out first time round, there's no reason to pit second time round now, because we're starting to get to the stage now where they can actually save enough fuel to not come in at all before the stage break.
Yeah, and then you're just going to go to the back of the line. So, yeah, you got to commit early on that first caution or stay out, I think, in this situation. So we're getting Kjellberg, Jokke Schuh, Stiller, Erling, Lundqvist, Robert Ericsson, Forsen, all the drivers down pit lane. And yeah, I think it was Dan Holmer was the other black car in the background getting involved. So that's not good for Simrace Sweden, losing a couple of cars in that one. Although you never know how the caution's going to fall. Might be able to get back involved somehow. Still got over 100 laps to go, obviously, around here in Chicagoland. And Ericsson still leads though, Ewan, so that's the important bit. He's just led from the front, sitting nicely. Bohlin in second place. It's all changed behind them, but those two are sitting pretty at the front.
They are for now, but if you remember, Forsen was in second place alongside Ericsson on that last restart and was just completely sleeping as they came to the start-finish line. So Bohlin will need to be a lot more attentive than that, otherwise he is going to be overtaken quite handsomely by those right behind him. Oscar Fredriksson is in third place, who would move into that second place if indeed that's what happens here. And because he is a teammate of Ericsson as well, so he'd certainly want that to begin with. But let's see what happens on this second restart. Things might calm down a little bit now. That crash has taken out about a quarter of the field, or at least has given a quarter of the field damage.
Yeah, so they will be not quite there. A lot of them will rejoin, though, actually, before we get to the start. So they'll at least be on the back of the field, but obviously laps down. We're looking at 1 lap down for a lot of drivers, couple for Ericsson, 3 laps for Forsen. But I actually say, I think there's going to be a lot longer damage for Forsen. I think he's going to be sitting there quite a while, especially if you say there's some engine damage.
Yeah. It sounded to me as if that engine blew as he was hit for the second time there, or maybe the third. It seemed to me as if that engine blew. That's certainly the sound that I heard in my ears, but that will be a long repair as a result. As far as I can see, he's still in the session and going to persevere with this one, but there's plenty of drivers who are down there with him. 5 drivers, actually, who have got long repairs. And they are Jonas Gunnarsson, Matthias Kjellberg, Daniel Holmer, Robert Eriksson, Edwin Forsland. All of them will be laps down. The rest of the 23 drivers are still on the lead lap.
Now, one thing I always think is you've already committed your evening to doing this race, so you might as well, stay out and see what happens. The pace truck is going to come in for the third time of asking, the second restart of the night here at the end of lap number 17, and the 37 of Bohlin will get the push from his teammate, the 112 of Fredriksson, as well, as he comes very nicely to the lead once more. Oliver Bohlin will have to file into third place, as we've seen Lars Bulke get there, having a solid start in the red machine on the low line. But it's going to be Joe Wallen who just comes down ahead of him. Solid run from Wallen here, though, as he comes through turn 2, and he's going to be able to get Fredriksson down this back straight. Who's going to give the slipstream to, though? Ericsson, as he's going to be on the inside line, actually, to Wallen. But Wallen goes a lot slower. Fredriksson holds the speed on the outside line and retakes second.
It just seemed that third place is a really good place to restart from, other than the leader, which is Jesper Eriksson, and has kept the lead every time. The third place driver has also moved up to second every time as well, so Fredriksson passed Wallen. Further back, it seems all are much less clear. Tony Juven only just in front of Linus Broström, who's filtered through. Arvidsson trying to get past Hacken-Schott on the way towards 3 and 4 at the moment, as well as Henrik Lindhoff, who's in that group at the moment, in 10th position. That's where all the action is at the moment, and this is, of course, the part of the field that the crash was just in front of, so it's a bit of a miracle the crash wasn't worse.
That's absolutely true. There could have been a few more drivers involved, but we're looking at the Polski Logistics trio as they try and work their way through, or I should say trio. They've lost one because obviously Wallen's up the front, so there's 2 of them trying to battle their way through, and that's obviously Broström, Arvidsson, but it's very congested here in this midfield. That is Lindhoff there on that inside line, forces Arvidsson to lift off, and unfortunately he's going to be losing quite a bit of momentum. He's got to block off Lundberg there, who's coming on that low line in that black and white Chevrolet as we work away along this start-finish straight. And they've also got who is that? Hacken-Schott, that is the other driver, getting involved around the outside as they try and work their way down this back straight.
Yeah, Lundberg going backwards at the moment, outside the top 10 now. We'll get back into line. As I mentioned under that previous caution, I just wonder whether this is going to frighten everybody into a longer green flag run here, because maximum it's only going to be just under or just over at the time it started 40 laps for this long green flag run, if we're going to get one. But that would bring us all the way to the stage, at which point we would get a caution. That's a big... I think it was a slide from Linus Broström there. Yeah, he's not coming to pit lane or anything. He's just had a really big slide off of 2.
And that is an interesting one. A few drivers having some wiggles out there. So the track isn't grippy at this moment in time. As you see, the 19 of Eck. He's currently in 15th position, chasing down the orange machine in front of him of Forsberg in towards turn number 1. He does look very calm, collected at this moment in time. Look how long and open these corners are. Can really get on the power quite early there as well. As someone's in the wall just ahead of Forsberg, that is Christian Löwen. As Schott finally gets a move on Lundberg just up ahead. He goes wide though. Oh, can he save it? Yes, he can. Maybe gets a bit of contact in the background as well, into the wall. We stay under green flag. Bodywork is going. And that was Kenneth Tier, your winner from last race, who I think just got that final tag.
That would, and there you go, there's the meatball for Hacken-Schott. That'd be a caution in real life, wouldn't it? Because even if a paper bag ends up on the circuit, they end up throwing the caution. But we can race properly. Down the inside for Oliver Bohlin on Oscar Fredriksson in the bottom of your screen, and meantime at the top, this is how Hackenschott got spun around. It's hard to tell whether that's Lundberg serving him or whether Schott did that to himself. I think the end of it was kind of to do with himself, to be honest. Just overcorrected there, and very realistically the fender pops off, or whatever they call it in America. I don't know what a fender's called.
Yeah, it is the fender. We call it the wing in the UK. The fender's a proper name. Oh, it's further contact. Uvenen going in the wall as Lindhoff is involved in that one with a bit of argy-bargy off the exit of 2. They slide their way out through 3. It definitely seems a bit slippery out there. Drivers are moving around, and we're only halfway into this tyre stint, even just slightly less than halfway as well. So they've got a long, long way to go. The initial drop-off has hit them, and drivers are struggling.
Yeah, absolutely. I still think they're going to persevere until lap 60. Certainly, unless there's a caution, everybody will be staying out. You're not going to pit under green unless you absolutely have to. And we know now, because of those first couple of corners, I think we know anyway, that none of these drivers will have to pit under green unless they choose to before the stage break, which comes at lap 60 here tonight. So we're almost halfway towards that. I believe they've got enough fuel to go all the way, but have they got the tyres underneath them? Well, in a sense, it doesn't really matter. They're keeping still 3 sets of tyres back for the last 80 laps of the race, and that could be very helpful.
And that will mean they can push a lot further, but it's one of those things you can't have all your sweeties at once. You need to obviously push back those pit stops and have the reward at the end of the race. So that means you're going to have to hold on to it for now and basically just deal with it. Deal with the sliding. Everyone's going to be in the same situation. No one's going to want to pit just yet. Hackenschott is down pit road. He's 3 laps down now, as he's going to be there for a long, long time getting some of those repairs. Still not settled down, are we, into this stint? It's going to be a long time. And Ewan, if we get a race like this, where we see some tyre wear come in, we might see some big gaps form up if it stays green.
Yeah, I think we will do. I think it'll be one of those races. I mean, Daytona, the only super speedway on this calendar. I think it's going to remain the tightest race of them all, if I'm honest. The rest of them going to be very, very spread out if we get the long green flag runs, which we had at times last season, especially on these intermediate circuits. Very good at staying green in this series the whole way through. And this season, to be honest, it's mostly intermediate or longer circuits. The shortest ones are Phoenix and Iowa, and they're far from the worst short tracks on the calendar.
Yeah, Iowa doubleheader is going to be such good fun, to be honest, because there's a lot of points on offer on that. I mean, this is a big bowl, but that's a small bowl at Iowa, so a lot of points going to be on offer. That is for sure. As we have some cars moving around up ahead. Was that one of... Oh, no, it must be on the back markers just letting through. Trying to see who that is. It might be Kjellberg, the 162. Just letting some drivers through. None of the top guys into the wall. Again, drivers go down to the apron, though, trying to make some moves as Bohlin, Oliver and Joel battling their way up ahead for third and fourth place, I should say. Oh, there goes Oliver Bohlin, though. Big save there from the 72. He's going to lose a lot of momentum, but he's still in the race.
Yeah, he's not spun round. That is the key thing here. He'll drop to 9th, though, behind Linus Broström. It does seem that everybody's a little bit loose here today. It doesn't matter whether you're down low on the apron or whether you're further up high. Hackenschott, admittedly, was spun round himself, but Forsen wasn't directly on the white line when he was getting loose earlier. So it's very, very interesting to see the difference in the way that these cars are behaving for each of these drivers, and that these cars are getting away from them so quickly here today for whatever reason. It's all about car control, it looks like. Lars Bauke moves up to the top 5 in the meantime, but moving in there to take it off him pretty quickly.
And looking at the leader's pace, we are roughly a second off the pace already in terms of the tyre drop-off. So that is quite a lot, considering we're only halfway through the stint, but we're told it's only going to go to about 1.5 or so seconds off the pace. The side-by-side action still remains. Joel Bohlin trying to go to second place. In the background, Uvenen loses it out of 2, and the 84, he saves it, but it might just bring out a caution because he's basically stopped there on the racing line, and he does bring out the caution. He's going to be fine, but another caution comes out and gives the opportunity to bunch everyone up.
And I wonder whether it's that opportunity to take tyres as well 3 pit stops means that, 3 cautions, sorry, means that there may be enough fuel, and there certainly will be enough fuel, I should say, for those drivers to stay out to the end now, but will they try to or not? There you go, Uvenen on the low side, just losing it again as well. Everybody's struggling with a bit of a loose car today.
Yeah, that's tough. That is tough. As Lars Bolker, the 372, the red machine on his outside, I don't think really did anything wrong. It's just putting your rival in a tricky situation. As you look back from the pace car, and the 37 is leading the way, as he has done. He's now got his teammate of Lindoff, who's having a storming run through the field. He's the top driver who's already stopped in this race, but just for fuel, remember, no tyres just yet. And then Joel Wallen having an awesome day up there in 3rd as well. Drivers come down pit row. Is this a fake? Are they going to stay out? No, they are going to come in. Aronson stays out. I would assume a lot of drivers are going to follow them in. Just the first gaggle of cars comes in. Quite a few stay out. Got Aronson, Broster and Wallen, all the Polski Logistics, and Kenneth Tier, their sister teammate as well. But we are going to be seeing, I would assume, some tyres coming in.
Oh, no.
For those who are coming in right now.
Wallen has made a complete mess of that. Joel Wallen, he completely missed his lollipop man, and he's going to lose a lot of time from this pit stop, let's put it that way, as he got that all wrong. It looks like 4 tyres going to be taken all round. This is about a quarter of the way through the race, so it's not unreasonable to see tyres being taken at this stage, and they will race back to the front. Ericsson leaves first, then Fredriksson, Lundberg, and where is Joel Wallen going to end it up here? He's still in the box, actually. Still, yeah, time ticking away. I wonder whether he sped and then couldn't find his box. He'll be... Oh, there he goes. He's just exiting now. 26 seconds for whatever reason. He'll be all the way down in 19th.
Yeah, it's a shame losing basically 10 seconds because he... let's have a look at this once again. Was there contact there? Did he go in too early into the pit lane thing? So he might have actually... There's definitely some sound there. I wouldn't be surprised if there was some damage on that car as well. That was, I don't know, that was all going wrong there for the blue and yellow machine as we're stacking up behind the pace car once more. Let's see this once again. I mean, there's a lot of visually distracting things going on. Yeah, I think because it was the 8. They weren't in the slow lane as such, so the 8 definitely made some contact there.
This is like half and half in it. Being able to drive through other people sometimes, but not all the time, is really stupid. But anyway, that's been the case forever. So yeah, it's created that incident. Anyway, if everybody knew they'd hit each other, then they'd be more careful. Or indeed, if they could drive through each other, they'd forget about each other in the pit lane. But neither is the case.
One thing I've just realised, Ewan, is if we stay green to the end of the stage, surely those who pit for tyres are going to come through and win this. They're going to be a second a lap faster. So they're going to have enough time to get to the front and win the stage. But later on, when the points are paid out at the end of the race, the drivers who can stay to the stage on the first set of tyres, they're going to have a free set of tyres for a late caution. So it's, do you want to get the points now on the stage, or do you want to get the points later on? The Polski Logistics quartet at the front are looking very good indeed. Aronson will lead Broström, Wallen and Tier on the front 2 rows as Forsberg and Löwen follow them on the 3rd row, as we're seeing Ericsson all the way back there on about the 6th row. Terrible starting behind from Fredrik Ek. I think what's in the 19 machine, he's going to be dropping down the way, but at the front is Aronson getting the Mabi 350 underway once more in the Mabi sponsored car, and the top 3 of them are all doing good. But unfortunately for Wallen there, he goes wide and he loses the run to his teammate Broström on his inside.
He's wide because he was chasing his race car up the top of the track there. That was really loose from Oliver Wallen, and now he's running right next to the wall. Maybe that'll be a better place to run, but seemingly nobody has yet. Looking at the shade of grey that it is up there, he'll get a good run on the front straight here, and he'll just have his nose in front of Broström briefly here, but this is all looking very, very difficult for 1 and 2. See what he's doing this time round. He was about here, running in the middle. There you go, much more of a better line from him that time round, so retakes 2nd place. So far, of those who pitted, Jesper Eriksson is the best of them, of course, already up into 5th place. And
it looks very solid from the drivers at the front so far. We're already seeing Ericsson up into 5th place, though. Those new tyres are going to be working wonders. And even Joel Bohlin is making some moves after that slow pit stop. And this is back to Frederick Eck, who is dropping down already on the front start, on the first start. And he's one of the drivers who is on the older tyres, going out wide, can't keep it down. And that is going to be the big talking point over the next 20 laps if we stay green. The old versus the new tyres. There's going to be so much time difference between the two. As Ericsson already jumps up into 4th place. Yeah, he's going to win this stage easily if we stay green.
Yeah, as you said, though, it's what happens later that is the more pressing thing here. Later on the race, when the big points are paid out, is he going to be struggling for tyre sets? Is he going to be wishing he had one more? And what does he do at the stage break? Does he take his 3rd set of tyres, second change, at 80 laps to go? It'll be a very long way on just 2 more sets of tyres. So be very interesting to see what happens in the future. But for now, Ericsson is the fastest driver in the field. That was the case before he put new tyres on. Now it's just being underlined. And he's passed Linus Broström now for 3rd place.
Yeah, solid laps coming here from the 37. He started outside the top 10 in this next restart, but with those fresher tyres, he is working his way very nicely indeed. He was only actually a 10th faster on the previous lap than Broström. However, the potential pace is way more than that, and he can just drive around the outside there on the high line through 4. He's going to swap to the inside and then get the run as you come across the start-finish line. Broström sees that coming, leaves him a couple of cars width there on the inside to the white line, and job done from the 37. Another position done, and he will have some of his teammates Lindoff, Fredriksson, all following him in behind.
Around the outside, and 2nd place now for Jesper Eriksson. He's going to have some people following him, but they're not anywhere near him at the moment. He's going to have seconds worth of a lead here, but will there be a late caution even in this stage maybe, and a chance for some of those others to come back at him? The likes of Eriksson, who currently leads this race. There is Fredriksson, not far behind Lindoff, who is also making very good progress, making his real first appearance in this race at the front, I would say.
Yeah, this is looking to be a very interesting race with a couple of different drivers once again being up towards the front compared to at least what we saw last season, challenging the big names at the front, and that's what you'd like to see. We're on lap 43, so just about 100 laps to go in this race, still plenty of time, and we're going to be seeing Jesper Eriksson take the lead on this next lap. Eriksson can't hold on for too much longer. This is Bulka just holding on to a top 10 place at this moment in time. Uvenen in behind him, and then Lundberg as well. They are trying to push their way forward. Kenneth Tier, that blue car ahead, is one of the drivers who didn't stop for the tyres as Bulka slides up wide out of 2.
Yeah, absolutely. That's not a name we've seen too much of recently, Lars Bulka, but 8th place in the points after the opening round of the season at Daytona, and clearly seems to be here to stay for the first part of the 2025 season anyway, or indeed the last 2025 season, I suppose, all the way to the 18th of December, as Lindoff picks off his latest old tyre runner. Not yet, though. Oliver Wallin runs on the outside. Oh, big slide for the lead. Eriksson loses it in a quite spectacular fashion.
Saves it, but that is going to be easily the lead for Eriksson, who now is going to walk away. We've got 15 laps to the stage. Remember, stage at lap 60. That is where we're going at this moment in time. And all these Polski Logistic cars are on these older tyres. They've got Simray Sweden chasing them down in behind. Lindoff and Fredriksson trying to find their way through. Oliver Wallin, the 72, he's not stopped at all in this race. So he's also one of the ones saving fuel and tyres to the end. As we see in the 24 of Eriksson here, having basically the big slide of his life as he gets... No, he doesn't get any help from the 37. He's just trying to push up, trying to get on that power, but just spinning those wheels. It is slippy out there today.
And what on earth is Oscar Fredriksson driving through the grass at turn 3 and 4? We saw some commotion going on the bottom right-hand side of the screen, but I had no idea what was actually happening there. And Fredriksson suddenly is nowhere to be seen at the front. Lindoff is the closest now chaser to Jesper Eriksson. Just in front, it's a slide on his own, Fredriksson there. And then he was come and collected there. That was awkward. There is a caution now for unrelated reason. Christian Gantz, is it? No, he's not. He's side by side with Kenneth Tier, but not sure who that is spun through 3 and 4.
Yeah, someone's on the inside of 3 and 4 as well. So drivers really struggling out there as, the 4th caution of the day already coming out. It's lap 48 and it's the 110. So this is the car that's having some problems earlier. Jens Lundqvist, he spun on his own earlier And now he's gone for another one. Tries to save it as best he can. He's doing all right at this moment in time, but brings out the caution anyway. And we go back to a level playing field once more. Although, then he goes onto the apron as we get to the banking. And of course, unsettles the car. And he spins a second time, just adding insult to injury.
It looks like that's what's brought out the caution. So don't accelerate when you're half up the apron, I think, is the lesson from that one. It never ends particularly well for anybody. And he will now drop down the field again. 2 laps down at the moment, by the way. Fredriksson going a lap down and might be about to be 2 down after his latest problems. Into the pit lane, meantime, comes Bohlin.
Yeah, fuel. Remember, I was just saying he hadn't stopped at all in this race. He was basically the only one left apart from Christian Leuven, which is interesting because this extra caution should be enough to get them on fuel, but he's just choosing to cut his losses. He was going back anyway on the older tyres. Is he going to change his tyres now, though, just before the stage? No, he stays there. So he's just... Oh, no, he does. He does. So he's going to do that. So when the caution comes out, the stage caution, he'll effectively jump to the front of the field because he will stay out.
Well, as long as everybody else comes in. I'm not convinced that everybody else will, but maybe you're right, and they will. Only 15 laps at the moment for Ericsson on his tank of fuel, but that would see him 30 laps into the final stage, at least, with the cautions we've got at the moment. So I do wonder whether we're going to see him in immediately or not, because as I say, it's a long way to go on those set of tyres. We have not quite a long way left in the race and not very many tyres remaining. Bohlin's got a very good chance here of actually doing something overall in this stage as well. Only 16th. He'll pick up some points here, just depends how many.
Indeed, and I guess that depends as well where the caution lies, because if we get a caution early, we will therefore have the caution through the stage as well, and wherever the positions lie, that will be it. So let's see how it goes. We've had quite a high rate of cautions so far. Considering the racing's actually been all right, there's been a lot of single driver incidents causing these cautions. I think 3 so far have been single driver incidents, which is very interesting to note as the race progresses, and if we are going to be seeing the track rubber in at all, or if maybe it is just a slidey setup that the drivers are driving today.
Yeah, it's very unusual, isn't it, to see that. So we'll see if that continues here today with the single car incidents or not. But I guess it's just a circuit that people don't drive very often. It's not particularly well used in NASCAR circles anymore. It was last used in 2019 for a Cup Series race in the real world, by the way. So that generally does filter through into iRacing, and people do generally end up driving it a little bit less. It's coming back next year, by the way, so you'll start to see it appearing on more calendars again. But it is, not well used in iRacing NASCAR circles if it's not in the Cup Series calendar.
That's very true. As lap 50 rolls on, we've got Ericsson leading, as he has basically the whole race. Of course, he dropped back there, but with the new tyres jumped to the front, there's going to be Linus Broström alongside him, both having made one pit stop in this race, but at different times, and Ericsson took tyres where Broström hasn't. So the 37 takes us to the green flag once again, and it's a good start from Sim Race Sweden boys on that inside line because Lindorff follows him through. Ericsson pushing his team at Broström hasn't been quite good enough as he work our way out to turn 1. Ericsson has a huge lead once more. We still got Bulker and Bohlin battling in there. Bohlin dropped down a lot at the pit stop, but he's already got him right back into the mix. Someone's in the wall already as Ericsson goes up high.
Yeah, he's in the wall out there through 2 as well. And the other disadvantage for Bohlin is not only this stage being shortened, as you say, because of a caution too close to lap 60, but also if there's one very soon. And, that would pretty much half the amount of time that he's actually got to make up places as well, such as the amount of laps remaining. So that wouldn't be good news either. Broström, though, is doing a very good job to hold on to second here. He's still on very old tyres. I don't think he's changed tyres at all today yet. Only Ericsson's in front of him right now.
Absolutely. Broström is doing a really good job to try and get some points. Top 10, get the stage points, which could be very crucial as there's no playoffs or anything like that. later on in the season. But if you think about it, if you get 10 points every stage, that is going to be more, that's basically 2 race wins almost, or a win and a half by the end of the season. That is going to be very crucial when we get to the championship. Every point is going to matter. We're almost 3 wide in the background there, but most of the drivers getting down to a single file formation. Yeah,
that seems to be the way for most. As I was talking about earlier, or sort of previewing earlier, that sort of being frightened to go side by side doesn't seem to have happened just yet, despite the 4 cautions in these first 60 laps, but may well do soon. Further behind there, one of those side-by-sides, by the way, was Oliver Bohlin, who's trying to work his way through. There he is on the high side. He has just got more tyre life left than the rest, and he is now into the stage points with still 6 laps to go.
And here's the driver who just stopped, so he will cycle to the front, we would assume, when the stage caution comes out, but he's on the freshest tyres, so he'll be working his way up very nicely. The fuel game is going to be quite interesting for him as well, because, well, he'll have enough fuel to do 1 stop to the end, but of course that is assuming that we go very, very long indeed. So, but he's just setting himself up a little bit earlier. A lot of the drivers are currently thinking about the stage still, where he's already thinking about the finish, so it is going to work out well in points. We're 3 wide down the back straight. We've got the 41 on the inside, Bjorn Broström. We've got the Kenneth Tier in the middle, and that is getting very tight between those drivers at this moment in time. We've got Oscar Motin, the Simrace Sweden car, the white machine, pushing them through, so Bjorn Broström loses 3 places there. Unfortunately, his Gantz comes through as well.
As Uvinen and Lindorf, meantime, for 3rd place. It's all happening at the moment. Lindorf's going to get the run on the exit here, and he will stay 3rd. These two on the same strategy at the moment, by the way. That so far, the only drivers to have only pitted under the first caution and still be out are Linus Broström and Peter Helmbro, who are inside the top 10. The only driver to have not stopped at all, Christian Loven, still out there, having not done a single fuel or tyre stop today. Here's Wallin. He's catching up to these big groups now. And I don't actually think it is only about the end of the race for Wallin. I think he is thinking a little bit about stage points, because he's managing to gain a few back again here by getting on these newer tyres.
That is true. I think he'll definitely be able to get a couple of more. We're on lap 57, so 3 to go to the stage. Caution will come out once more. How many places can he get? They're moving a little bit all over the track in front of him, so hopefully he doesn't get caught up in anything, because sometimes when you have too much grip compared to the drivers around you, then that can obviously cause some problems. But remember, there are some who are newer tyres at this stage, but they are going to be 20 odd laps old since that point, as this is Peter Helmbro just up ahead. He has not stopped since that first caution, and he's going to be struggling a little bit, so he probably didn't change tyres. He's going to be on older tyres there on the inside line, and look at this round the outside from the 72.
Yeah, this is the problem for Bohlin, though, isn't it? The amount of guys in front of him making it very tricky. 3 wide. Oh, they were nearly 3 wide there, and they very nearly didn't realise it. Lundberg had to back out, and Wallin's going to go straight through here into 8th place. He's rapidly running out of time, though, and another side-by-side in front. Can he get Joggeschu and Lars Barker on the last 2 laps, lap and a half here? He's going to get Schu very easily. Oh, we'll just get the space, and he breathes a sigh of relief there visibly as he moves into 7th.
In the last lap, he's got 2 drivers there who've basically given him the place. If that was on the final lap, 100% they would have chopped up. But we are just coming to the stage. So lap 60 begins. Now at the end of this, we will be getting the stage points and the caution. And let's see. Linus Broström's holding on to 2nd place very well. Lindorf hasn't been able to get past him, to be fair. So this is working very nicely. Wallin is going to get another place there on the outside of Lars Bulker. He's going up into P6. So the new tyres are working wonders for the 72. But at the front, it's going to be Jesper Eriksson, who's led the majority of this race so far. And a 37 will come across the line for yet another stage victory in the Bohlin Svenska Eracingligan, and the Mabi 350 stage winner goes to Jesper Eriksson. Caution will come out. Linus Broström is in 2nd place. Lindorf, Uvinen, Joel Wallin, Oliver Wallin, Bulker, Schu, Helmbro and Lundberg, your top 10 getting the points.
Well, that's a very good job done by Jesper Eriksson. And now he's got a big decision to make. He took tyres about halfway through that first stage and decided that that was the best option. In the end it was, although he might have won the stage anyway, doing what he was doing. Now, though, does he decide to take on his 2nd set of tyres now, while the stage caution is out, or will he stay out? We'll wait and see.
Absolutely. As the stage comes to an end, we'll take this opportunity to hear some messages from our partners. And we continue here at Chicagoland. The stage has come out, and therefore we have the first winner of the night, and that is Jesper Eriksson taking the stage, but there's still plenty of laps to go. 85 until we get to the checkered flag. Oliver Wallen leading the way by Gantz and Forsberg. Those drivers has basically stayed out, and everyone in behind has come in for their next stop. We have quite a few drivers still struggling down pit road. We've got Arison, Brostrom still all having long stops here. We've got a couple of other drivers as well. Dan Holmer also trying to take some longer stops at this caution. And of course, what we're going to see with these drivers staying out is the likes of Wallen, Forsberg. They took tyres at the previous caution. Gantz is a little bit longer, so I'm not quite sure what his ideal strategy is, to be honest, because he's going to be having to stop in maybe 20 laps after we go green again. So he's going to be hoping for another caution. For everyone else, they're basically onto their third set of tyres. So therefore, they only have one set more. So they're going to have to take fuel to the end at some point, and at that pit stop, they'll take the tyres. But if we have other cautions, Ewan, that might change their strategies a little bit.
Yeah, it always does, and that's the beauty of racing like this. I've got to say, I probably would have been tempted to stay out as well in this situation. It was expected that Oliver Wallen would stay out. Actually, I wasn't too surprised about that, but at least somebody other than Christian Gantz to stay out on that strategy, I was expecting, I must say. Obviously, there will be different thoughts about how many tyres have been used, and that's differing across the board, but very interesting situation. There's many different things at play at the moment, which is, again, what we come to these races for.
Exactly, with certain drivers like Brewster as well behind who saved a set of tyres. But as we come to the green flag once more, it's going to be Oliver Wallen getting the Mabi 350 underway as he gets into stage 2 to the end of this race with about 80 laps remaining, and he has an absolutely rocket start. He was on fresh tyres and managed to gain some points, get some stage points, but the issue is he's now on older tyres, and those will be coming in behind. Jesper Eriksson is already up into second place. He's going to get Gantz. Forsberg is dropping down massively as there's a whole train of cars on his outside, really high from the 37, as it's going to be Wallen who will lead across the line. Oh, we're already having some spins in the background. The 43, that is Joel Wallen. He's having a strong run earlier, but he's going to bring out the caution once more. I think there was help in the beginning of that.
Yeah, there may well have been. It wouldn't be too surprising as they all jam on the brakes and stop in time for the pace car to get out in front of them again. Oliver Wallen will have to slow down for a moment while the pace car speeds up and goes straight past him. But unfortunately for Joel Wallen, that's not a good start. Not a good start to this stage, unfortunately. It was always like to happen. People on different tyre sets, people on different strategies, all very, very close together off of turn 4. And we've seen people have trouble on their own tonight, never mind around other people.
Indeed, it's been a tough track out there. And I mean, everyone's been struggling, to be honest. I mean, even some of the top drivers. So that just shows you how difficult it is. I mean, we've lost with Gunnarsson and Forsberg as well, as it's going to be a squeeze. Jogashu squeezes to the outside of Forsberg, and then the 43 just doesn't quite have enough space. Then that's Leuven in the 6, who's going to drop down, and then maybe it's Oscar Motin and then Kenneth Tier get a tag as well, but nothing too major. It's really just the 43 who gets involved in that one.
Does anybody else want to touch him on the way past? Maybe he was getting battered there from one side to the other. Dear me. Unfortunate for Joel Wallen. Thankfully, it doesn't look like too much damage done to anybody. Maybe some tyre damage with the spin there. Wallen's down pit lane now, along with Alexander Audsen as well. Those two, the last drivers on the lead lap at the moment, 19th and 20th positions. So hopefully they do stay on the lead lap throughout that. And as I say, I think they will do with that. Really minor contact, to be honest, but it was always bound to happen on this restart. We'll see whether that continues here, and indeed, if this continues, whether it becomes a time-limited race here today. We can't be that far away from getting there if there's a few more cautions again.
That's very true. Our rate of cautions has been pretty diabolical so far. To be honest, I mean, the race in itself has been very clean. It's just the odd single crash every 10-20 laps, and it just brings out another caution. And we're going to be racking up the caution counter here today. And this is one thing, Ewan, we were Linus Brewster, and we were discussing with before the season, said we didn't get enough cautions last year. Well, we're certainly getting enough this year.
I mean, I don't even know if I agree with that, to be honest with you. I guess it's the thoughts of the drivers. They would rather see a few more cautions, but I thought it was fine. I thought it was quite well balanced. You don't want every race going green the whole way through, because that's a little bit dull. But also, you do want... Oh dear, it's end of line penalty. I've not seen that graph before. There you go. End of line penalty for Daniel Homer. You don't, as I say, you don't want it all green all the way through, but you don't want the whole race to be under caution either. So I'm not sure I even agree that there were not enough, so we would have to have a stage caution here. But there you go. I think keeping the stage caution out of things does help to open things up strategy-wise, but the drivers, by general consensus, don't agree with me. So there we go.
Absolutely. The Bohlin Svenska Eracingligan is certainly a community-driven league. The Discord is very active. Yeah, certainly very, very active. There's votes after every race. There's a vote whether they want to use the track again and things like that. So it's definitely a choice where the drivers want, and the 30 drivers out there are choosing where we are going. And being a shorter season as well, we can always change things for the season 9 that will start in 2026 as well, which is always good. But obviously you go to the rules that you have at the time, and what we have is Oliver Bohlin leading from Jesper Eriksson at the front of this field. Uvinen and Gantz will be in second place. What a start from Oliver Bohlin there. There's a big jump, but he's got no one to help him as we work our way towards turn number 1. And unfortunately, it looks like he's going to have to do it all by himself. Eriksson is chasing him down. Uvinen on the inside line, though, is going to come up, squeeze the 37 up towards the wall, but it's going to be the draft for the 37, who surely will get him into turn 3.
Yeah, Bohlin is going to be leading for a very brief moment, it looks like, but Bohlin takes his line away. Look at that. Bohlin normally likes to ride through the middle or the high line there, but knows that Eriksson's been sticking to the low side and knows he enjoys it down there, so Bohlin decides to take the line away from him. Again, what makes overracing so interesting, it's far more than just turning left a few times. It is a tactical battle, and now Eriksson goes to the top.
Yeah, you've got to have control, moving your car around the different lines, blocking off the drivers behind you, but also finding the gaps. The 37 gets a huge run off too. He goes up really high as Bohlin goes really low. Complete opposite lines here on lap 70, and it looks like they're going to crisscross once more, but the 37 is miles behind as he come onto the front stretches. The 8 goes really slow. The 8 has had a problem coming off 4, and he's dropping way down the order.
Well, Lindhoff has been up and down a little bit today. It's got to be said. In more recent times, been further up the field, but this has put him straight back down again. Oh, it's a spin off of 4. That car's so snappy. Just gets away from him. Brostrom gets into him, and eventually there is a caution for something else, I think.
Yes, so we've got Forsberg, he's got Motin around the outside, Peter Helmbro just in front of him, and there's actually Stiller comes up a little bit high, but it's already Yokoshu having a problem, losing it himself, I think, and then going up into Motin. That is such a tricky situation for the 94, because he couldn't really do too much about that. Let's see this one. Yoka comes in. Oh no, Yoka gets a tap actually. He's already wiggling around a bit. He gets a tap, maybe from Lundberg, I think might have been the car involved there. And unfortunately, that's going to take out those 2 drivers. Caution will come out once more.
I would really wonder whether we're in danger of going to time here tonight. I think the time limit's an hour and 45, if I'm not mistaken.
50 now.
Oh, is it now 50 now? Okay, we might be all right in that case. But when we go back green, we'll probably have just over 35, call it 40 minutes to go. And under the previous rules, for an hour 45, we'd be edging very, very close towards the being cut off. And we were only cut off a couple of times this season. But there you go, you are right. We've got nearly an hour left, so we're fine for the moment. But if it continues on at this rate, these cautions, then that time limit will be our ending point.
Well, you say that. Half of an hour and 50 minutes is 55. We're only 2 minutes away from that. And we're at basically half distance in the race. Yeah. So we're just shy of half distance. So we're actually basically on that bubble already. If we go at this rate of cautions, with another 5 or so, then that is going to be some interesting situations later on in the race. Maybe we don't get the full 145 laps. We'll have to see. Some drivers, of course, have come down pit road in the meantime, by the way.
Further down the field, top 14 stay out on the circuit. I guess most notably Brostrom and Aronson coming in. But what I was going to say is that we'd have to continue on the rate of cautions, which currently, by the way, is 7 cautions per half race. Well, I mean, I'd be impressed if we keep that up, to be honest.
Didn't we have like 15 at Bristol last year? This is a 1.5 miler, boys.
Nearly 20, yeah. I think it was 18 off the top of my head. I haven't got the stat in front of me, but yeah, it was 18.
That's Bristol, you know what I mean? This is a big circuit.
Yeah. Yeah, I think New Hampshire had, which is also kind of a short circuit, had about 14, 15 last season as well. But we didn't go to time in that race, from what I remember. I think we did go to time at Bristol and somewhere else as well, although I can't remember where else. It was going to time. So maybe on a day we had a green white checker actually, and that took us over, which sort of means we did the race distance but not the race. But anyway, maybe I misremembered that. But yeah, it's a high rate, but it seems like a difficult circuit. I mean, the guys are just losing it on their own.
Well, put it this way, Oliver Wallen leading, 1 pit stop. Christian Leuven in 8th place, 1 pit stop. Forsberg in 10th, 1 pit stop. A bit further down, Erling in 15th place, 5. Yokoshu, 5. Dan Holmer, 8. It's been quite a different one. Yeah, Lindhoff, quite a few drivers on 4 actually. Marcus Still in P7's on 5 as well. There's a lot going on out there, to be fair, tonight here at Chicagoland. Round 2 of the Bohlin Svenska Eracingligan has been very dramatic in the Mabi 350. And Oliver Wallen still leads the way, as I said, with that 1 pit stop, which is at an important time because he timed it perfectly for changing his tyres just before the caution, and that's pushed him to the front of the field.
Well, yeah, I still can't get over that. 8 pit stops.
He's had a tough day. He's 13 laps down.
He has had a tough day, yeah, but he's had more cautions, more pit stops than cautions, for goodness sake. That is unbelievable. Anyway, we'll hopefully get some green flag laps strung together, because I was looking forward to seeing the Wallen-Ericsson battle continue, to be honest, and hopefully it does.
Certainly, with 13 lap older tyres compared to Ericsson, Wallen is going to take the lead. The pace truck comes in, and there'll be 71 laps to go of the Mabi 350 round 2 of the Bohlin Svenska Eracingligan, and it's a solid start there. We've got Ovanen pushing on that low line as well. It'll be Lundberg pushing on the outside behind Jesper Eriksson. The top 4 get away a little bit as Wallen comes up high to cover off Eriksson, so he's going to have to chop down low to get in front of Ovanen as well. We're side by side in the exit of 2, Ovanen just holding the line as the 37 retakes second. Yeah,
we've seen on so many occasions tonight that third place has taken that second position away on these restarts, but when you've got Ovanen versus Eriksson, that does change the dynamic a little bit. Eriksson more likely to stay in front in that scenario as we go over 70 laps to go here. Still 27 laps on this stint for Wallen, but not many of those under green for the tyres, and still a very long way to go on his fuel, more than 30 laps before he has to come in. I'm not sure he'll have to come in under green though.
49 is Kenneth Tier. He is the championship leader in P7 after his heroics at Daytona. He wasn't sure he was going to win the race, but the strategy worked in his favour, and in the wall, Gantz goes on the exit of 4. And now there's going to be some damage on the outside line as once more the drivers are struggling here at Chicagoland. In behind is Marcus Stiller, who has not, well, he's stopped 5 times, but he has not qualified for the last couple of seasons. He's always starting from the back, and he did get a podium along with Kenneth Tier. So if he follows him through, maybe those two will be on the podium again today.
He's just so good at picking his way through the field, isn't he, Marcus Stiller, even when it looks difficult to pass on. He just doesn't often get caught up in incidents, always moving forward, and seeing that again here as we go on board with Linus Broström. One of those drivers on the newer tyres, but they're not that much newer than some of those in front. This Dante Forsberg has been out on those tyres for quite a long time. Peter Halbro less so, but Broström's still quicker than him, and he moves up to 9th.
And Broström's one of those drivers who generally plays the longer game. He had a bit of contact there for the previous caution. Leuven hip checked out wide by the 77, and Lindhoff might get the run down the front stretch as well. We have Joel Wallen in behind, still going there. As Eriksson drops down, Ovanen gets second place. He's looking fast. I mean, he was looking fast back at Daytona as well. He was always up towards the front, and it's a bit of a shame, actually, that he missed out on the podium after some contact coming towards the line. But the 37, a humbling experience being overtaken. Who would have thought?
Yeah, doesn't happen that often to Jesper Eriksson, does that, overtaken by anybody. And it just shows what happens when you take the race to him. You know, don't be scared of the fastest driver in the field. Try and take his line away. And I'm not sure whether there was a singular incident that meant that Eriksson actually lost quite a lot of time in one go, but he certainly lost a bit of time over laps. And is now behind Uvenen, and suddenly you start to realise that actually the leader is only the leader because their car is the fastest of anybody. He's in the clear air versus everybody else in dirty air, but put them back in the pack and it does get more difficult for them.
That was very key with Mercedes back in F1 back in the day. Don't know if you remember that. There would always be tracks like Hungary where they would go further back and they would just not be able to overtake. That was a good one as well. They could just never do well if they weren't up towards the front, despite having a dominant car. And it's a similar situation here, you're for sure. But around the outside goes the 37. Uvenen doesn't squeeze him on the exit of turn 2. That's polite, as this is a nice, respectful battle between the two. But the 37 regains that second place. This has allowed Bohlin to go off towards the front as well, who, just remember, has only stopped once this race, and he's leading the way and he's still got good pace. So he's going to have a fresh set of tyres in hand as well. He's already leading the race. He's got the track position. He's looking strong for the second half of this race that we are going into, as we're seeing Hylbro, who started way back. He definitely didn't set a competitive lap time. He was 5th from last in qualifying. He's got pole positions in this series and he's there in P11 right now. Yeah, looking okay, although positions lost in the last few laps will make him feel less good. But what a start to the season Kenneth Thier is having. This is just fantastic for him. First win last or 2 weeks ago. 62 points, by the way. 13 ahead of anybody else. So he got good stage points, although we didn't properly realise it at the time. 3rd place at the stage. 1st place at the end of the race as well. As this is back to Joel Bohlin, who's coming back through the field again. Yeah, he's got Forsberg on his inside. Leuven just behind as the two of them sneak through. Hexagon Nation here, the number 6 car, just struggling over a couple of places. I just noticed in behind him is Aronson, who's trying to work his way back up, having stopped to that last caution. He's had a few issues today as the 24 machine, and now he's just trying to slide his way through on the 19 of Eck. This is going to be for 15th place if he can make it. But up ahead, Kenneth Thier gets Gantz. That's P6 for the 49 machine as he works his way through turns 3 and 4. Gantz with some damage definitely on the outside of that car after hitting the wall a little bit earlier. But he's going to be dropping down. They are losing some time though to the top 5. Yeah, they are. And this is not helping that either, the battle, but it doesn't matter too much at the moment. You just, based on the first half of this race, presume there's going to be another caution to bring them all back closer, and at some point they're all going to want to caution, especially Christian Gantz, who's now been out there for 50 laps. I know that there's been a lot of cautions in those last 50 laps. So what would he have last pitted on? Lap 35 or something? I reckon there's been at least 4 cautions since then, so he can probably go 10 laps further than normal. He'll go over 60 laps on fuel, I would imagine, but not much further than that. And we are settling in a bit here, so he won't want to let this get too settled, and he will want a caution at some point, otherwise he'll have to do a green flag pit stop, which is surely going to kill anybody who has to do that today. So that must mean he's also on his 2nd set of tyres. So he's got 2 left, which is good, because he is almost at only having 1 fuel stint. So he will also have a spare set of tyres at the end, as Marcus Stiller is going to be going up the inside here through 3 and 4. He's going to keep it pretty tight as we go around across the start-finish line, but it's not going to be the move done in towards turn number 1. The 0-13 still going to have to work for this as Gantz continues to go high. He will drop down, and Gantz needs to go a few more laps to have enough fuel to get to the end as well. So if it goes green flag stop though, and he goes a lap down, that's not going to be ideal, and he's going to lose all of that potential strategy. So it really is a matter of when these cautions come out. Yeah, it does. And I think a part of him at the moment will either want a caution before he has to make this stop, or just a very long green flag run to the end of the race. Either of those 2 scenarios benefit him. The one that really kills him is him coming in for a green flag stop and then a caution coming out not long after, in which everybody can come down pit lane themselves. He will get back onto the lead lap in that exchange, but he will lose all of his track position. He'll be 21st, maybe a little bit better, but not much, and he'll certainly lose his top 10. So there's a very specific time at which Gantz is going to want cautions. So that's always an awkward situation to be in, especially given it's something you don't have much control over. As they've continued to be side by side for about 3 laps here. They just can't get away from each other. Stiller still on that inside line. Gantz on the outside. He's tapped the wall again on the exit of 4. Big slide there from the 0-13 though. And that is going to lose him potentially 4 positions, because Hylbro and Lindhoff are going to get through, as well as Broström. So yeah, basically a net 4 places lost there for the 013, just showing you how that inside to midline is a little bit bumpy. I think drivers struggling, especially on the exit of turn 2, as Helmbro is going to get Lindoff.
No, nicely done again. Lindoff is having a very weird race. Seems to be making up places very easily sometimes, and they're losing a lot in one go other times. And at the moment, he's losing at least one place. 10 laps fresher tyres, I think he'd put tyres on, than the likes of Ericsson and those who pitted under that caution as well. But that last stop for Ericsson was nearly 30 laps ago now. So that's getting a long time ago as well. Bohlin last in over 40 laps ago. This is properly long run here.
It's one of those things how it ebbs and flows. At one point, Bohlin was on the fresher tyres going past everyone. And okay, fair enough, he's still leading now, but now he's got to a point where he's on the old tyres and it flip-flops once more. His pace is still very good compared to Ericsson, though, considering he's on 13, 14 lap older tyres. He's definitely in a very good position right now. But it's Uvinen who's looking fast. So Uvinen stopped 3 times, Bohlin stopped once, Ericsson stopped twice, all different strategies up towards the front, but they're basically doing the same lap times as Motin comes in under the green flag.
Well, I'm not sure that's going to drag a load onto pit lane because he was already quite a long way down and he's now got a lap down, so I'm not sure that is going to be the instigating moment that he maybe is hoping for here, but he will get some benefit from fresher tyres. Bohlin at the moment is a second off of his best, so is Ericsson, although he's in a battle here with Tony Uvinen, who is faster than him last time round. Side by side between Gantz and Broström now. Broström trying to work his way through on nearly 40 lap fresher tyres for Broström, but it doesn't seem to make that much of a difference.
Yeah, it seems like there's an initial drop in the first 10-15 laps, and then the rest of the stint is fairly stable with the drop-off. So everyone is in that same window now where the tyres are very similar. It's weird how some tracks are like that. We have a stable drop-off, and sometimes it's just a continuous degradation. Very weird indeed. Oh, there's contact! Uvinen, a 37 of Ericsson, into the wall. Caution comes out. Lundberg's going to go through to second place. But what on earth was happening there? We're going to get the meatball for Kjellberg, so I think that's what actually the caution is for, not that contact with the 37. Let's see this.
Now this is the caution itself. This is Kjellberg, who slides, and then spins, and he gets smacked by somebody there.
It's actually, Jocke Schu was the one spinning, and then Kjellberg was the one who made the contact, So 2 cars involved once more, and again, the cause still remains as a single driver incident, really. Yeah, it's very bizarre how that keeps happening tonight around a circuit like this. I must say I wasn't expecting it particularly, but let's see what happened here with Ericsson and Uvinen. I don't think there was contact there, to be honest. I think Ericsson's just fighting the car, and eventually Uvinen has to go somewhere. He goes to the outside. Ericsson's still fighting with the car, so there's more contact. I want to see this from an angle. Maybe we can see whether there's contact. Here we go. No. Or just got, I don't think there's contact. Maybe just got air off the diffuser.
I guess, yeah. Does iRacing simulate that? Getting really close like that? I guess so.
That's the only thing I can see, to be honest. There was definitely enough of a gap in front of him. There should be, because it's basically it's the same as the bump draft, pushing them. It's the same manner, but that helps you go faster in a straight line, but it doesn't help you go faster in the corner. As lots of drivers coming down pit road. So Uvinen, Lundberg, Bulka and Eck stay out. 32 laps on their stint. Everyone else, and I mean everyone else, coming down pit road. Oh, Ericsson there, long pit stop, the car at the front, so he's going to be going all the way to the back. This could be big for the championship, which didn't go his way already in the first race, and now potentially, if we go green, may have to do a lot of work to get back up into the top points.
Yeah, having said that, though, not a lot of his rivals are having particularly great days. Alexander Alverson's having a long repair down there. Kenneth Tier is in the top 10, I suppose, which is good news for him, but I mean, how realistic is it that he's going to be one of the big challengers? Unfortunately, I don't think it will be him. Marcus Stiller as well. Probably won't beat Peter Helmbro. Linus Broström, I suppose, but he's been having a sort of average day so far. If he can have a good run to the end, then he can get a good result out of this, but at the moment, his big rivals, Jesper Ericsson's big rivals, probably not taking full advantage of this trouble. He's still down pit lane at the moment, Ericsson. He's got to get out quickly, otherwise he's going to go a lap down. I think he's just leaving. Yep, there we go. A minute 11 of repairs, but I don't think that would have covered all of it.
Oh, that is tough. That is tough. Big hits, but that's what happens when you go close racing. And very interesting that Uvinen has stayed out. So with 50 to go, so all of those who just stopped, they are tyres and fuel to the end. If we stay green, they are tyres and fuel. The top 4 will definitely need to pit on fuel to the end. There's various drivers who will still have 1 extra tyre set in there as well, especially Oliver Bohlin. He might even have 2 sets actually. There's a few others out there who will have a fresh set of tyres if we get a late caution. So this is going to be so exciting. Various different strategies out there, but it has stabilized a little bit. The main thing now is the top 4, so Uvinen, Lundberg, Bulka and Eck. They are end of line penalty for Ericsson as well, but to be honest, he's going to be at the back anyway. After that long stop. Yeah, those top 4, they are going to be on older tyres, and they're going to be a second a lap slower than those in behind, but they are trying to wait as long as they can before they take that next pit stop. Pace truck comes in. The Mabi 350 will get underway for another time, and it's going to be Tony Uvinen, who's looking fast this season, and he's coming for a good result. Lars Bulka, who's having a strong race, is pushing him towards the front. And of course, we've got Lundberg dropping into 3rd place. Oliver Bohlin there, jumping up already. The top driver to make the stop at the previous pit stop. And he's already working his way up into 3rd place off the exit of 2.
Yeah, Stiller was very close to contact that would have sent him around in front of the field there, by the way, but we all get away with it as here comes Bohlin inside of Lars Bulka and Tony Uvinen as well. I don't mind the call from staying out, by the way, by these guys. I think it could benefit them later, but it won't now. And Oliver Bohlin takes the lead immediately.
The grip difference with 3 wide in behind as Lundberg going to jump the pair of them to get up into 2nd place, but he just drove straight past them. That was almost a different class of car. The grip difference is also, we're going to get Lindhoff here, who's going to be coming through. Surely he'll be 2nd place by the end of this lap. And Broström has worked his play into effectively 3rd place in this race. As Uvinen goes wide, can he keep out the barrier? Just the slightest touch. He should be able to continue on. As the 71 is now going to be driving past Bulka as well. And then we've got Kenneth Tier and Peter Helmbro. So the order is completely changed up towards the front. Oh, huge contact in the background. Someone's off into the thing is Leuven. Eck was definitely involved in that one as well, but Leuven, big contact. We stay green though.
It is Leuven, and Jesper Eriksson has realised that damage is too bad to continue. He is in pit lane under green making repairs right now. Christian Leuven will join him with that meatball flag, but what big news this is for the championship. Jesper Eriksson, who dominated through 24-25, does not have the time in this season to make up those kind of losses that he's receiving here tonight. We are a quarter of the way through the season after tonight. He cannot afford these losses, especially with Broström now in the top 5.
Motin also has the meatball, but we stay green. Let's see how this one happens. So, he went to the outside of Leuven. Was that? No, this was afterwards, I think. So Leuven, I think, was going slow after the crash, and then Motin. How are we not caution after that? That is pretty crazy. Because he goes back to the pit lane straight away. That is why he gets the tow, and he will be having to sit there for a long time. Interesting for Ericsson. I guess he had to take the risk and rejoin the field, but he could have got some 3 seconds of that damage if he'd stayed in the pit lane repairing it. But I guess, you have to stay on that lead lap if you can. Yeah,
that's the most important thing, because I guess, if you can't stay on the lead lap, then there's not much point anyway. Your position's going to be limited anyway. With where you can finish. There's a lot of drivers out there at the moment in pit lane though. Oscar Fredriksson and Daniel Holmer have both continued on after losing multiple laps, but not many of the others have. Fredriksson has already passed Eriksson. Wonder whether Holmer will get past him as well, but you'd think if he's serious about winning this championship, he's got to get back out onto the circuit again and try and sweep up any points that he can, because he's going to need them all with the way he started this season.
Indeed, this is a very interesting race that we have here. So we've got Lundberg here. He's on 39-lap stint. We've got Broström coming around the outside of him. The top 2 on fresh tyres, they've gone off. Bohlin and Lindhoff. They've absolutely put away a second already, is the gap to 3rd. And now Broström is trying to find his way through. But remember, these tyres do drop off. We're already on to lap 8 of the stint. By the time we get to lap 10, lap 15, there won't be as much of a difference. So as long as Lundberg can hold on, he might be able to stay in a very good position from those chasing him in behind, because there's already some big gaps for the other drivers, such as Kenneth Tier and also Helmbro, who've already made their stops. Lars Bulka and Lundberg are the top 2 leading, who did not stop at that previous caution.
Yeah, and as you mentioned earlier, in these first 10 laps, the tyre drop-off is very severe to that second, which it then holds at for a while. So if Lundberg can let this sort of green flag run play out for 10 laps or so, catch a caution, come in, obviously it needs to be in the next 15, 20 laps for Lundberg, otherwise it's pointless, and he'll be in pit lane under green. But then he'll have the freshest tyres of everybody. People will start to run out of tyres. There must be drivers on their last set of tyres now, based on the way some of the people have been going through them. So Lundberg would be in a great position. That's why I would have stayed out personally under that previous caution, although it doesn't look great at the moment for the likes of Lundberg and Uvinen and the rest of them.
As Brosham chops off Lundberg there to say, nope, you're not coming back past. And Brosham gets onto the podium as it stands. 41 remaining. Kenneth Tier now chasing down Lundberg, the 49 onto the 18. Once again, Kenneth Tier having a solid start to this season, winning the first race. Strong once again today. And it's such a shame for some other drivers like Uvinen dropping down because, some strong results of different drivers up towards the front of this race. The Mabi 350 has been absolutely crazy so far. We've got drivers on all sorts of pit stops, some on 6, some on 2, but they're all raced up towards the front.
Absolutely fascinating. It's almost actually an interesting contrast to the races you see where there's really severe tyre wear. Somewhere like Richmond or Phoenix or somewhere like that, maybe more so Richmond, something like that, where the tyres just fall away so quickly. Oh, and Lundberg's sliding. His tyres clearly not looking great, but it's almost more interesting when the tyres, when they're older, not brilliant, but also not the pace of those on the at the very front. At least gives them a chance compared to those 3-second drop-off circuits where you just stand no chance at all. It's like you're in a different category sometimes when you're on old tyres.
And when it's that much, when you're that much slower, you might as well pit. Because if you stay out for 10 laps, you might as well have, the time that you lose being that slow, you've saved the pit stop. So here, it's fast enough that you might as well keep on going. Same for Lundberg there. You see, he had the slide a lap ago, coming through 4, lost all his momentum, lost a couple of places, but he's still going. If he keeps the car just in that perfect window where it doesn't slip too much, he can still be, a second off his pace, maybe 1.5 seconds at worst, and he can keep going. But it's so difficult to drive. What you don't see is that these cars are wiggling around for the drivers. The micro corrections that they'll be doing through the corners is very tough as Gantz is working his way back up into P7.
He is, as I mentioned, he might do earlier. It's the race coming back to him a little bit after that most recent pit stop. So now it's the turn of Lars Boker and Eric Lundberg, for example, to be in Gantz's situation. Now we're hoping for one more caution before they can really start to rise back towards the front again. There's only 16 on the lead lap now as well, of course, so it's much easier to actually work your way through now compared to what it was, as the 79 stays high. That's Dan Holmer, who's going 13 laps down. Ericsson only just gets out in front of Daniel Holmer, so he's 21st now, but he'll hope to take Fredrik Ek and Christian Ericsson in the next couple of moments. 3 laps time that will be.
And there is the 37, but he's perfectly behind his teammate. That is very interesting indeed. Probably going to try and give the 8 a push, and he does so to push the 8 up high. And it is, of course, Polski Logistics and Simrace Sweden battling for the win today. It looks like we got 3 of Polski Logistics up inside the top 4. You have to look a long way back to find the next Simrace Sweden car, who is actually, on the pace after most of their drivers having some issues. It might even be, Fredriksson down in 18th place. Who's laps down. They're really not having the day that they would have wanted after having so many cars out there. But yeah, that's what happens. Motin, Holmer, Forsland, all having big issues today. And the 37, even though he's laps down, needs to try and help his teammate get the win.
Yeah, exactly. Especially from the start of the race, by the way, where they were all mobbing the front and looking very good. It's much different now as Henrik Lindorff looks to the inside. He's going to drift up a little bit. Oh, he started on the low side. He's drifted up a bit in towards Bohlin. That was very close off of 2. They're still side by side, and Ericsson's going to help his teammate there.
And is Ericsson going to follow him through, though? Or is he... Oh, yeah, now he's going to go through. So obviously got fresher tyres. So now he can go through and pull him along. So the team play is out there. And, you know, he's trying his best, I think, to not really get too involved, or actually is he just going to get out of the way? We'll have to find out. As Bohlin is smiling there a little bit, he knows what's happening. And really, he needs Broström to catch up and try and play the team game as well. The issue for Ericsson is he's so fast at the moment with those fresher tyres that he can just drive around them and position his car to help his teammate as he wants. So for a few laps, this is going to be very awkward for Bohlin, but they have a big gap to Broström and Thier, his two teammates behind them, so he's all on his own.
I'm not really sure he is helping Lindhoff much at the moment. It's Jesper Eriksson. He seems to just be getting in the way a bit. If I was Lindhoff in this situation, I'd say just get out of the way, would you, please? But anyway, he's on pressure tyres, so get out of the way could mean get out front and now drive away. So now 12 laps down is Eriksson. He's not going to see the lead lap again in this race, but he might see some more positions gained before the finish here tonight. Currently in 19th place, and as we've kept mentioning, short season, need every point you can get, especially considering the start of the season that the likes of Kenneth Thier have had. If you're not careful, someone like Kenneth Thier can get a big lead in the championship and suddenly they can surprise you and go and win it after winning the first round, just hold on the whole way through. I still don't think that is going to happen, but you've got to be very careful of things like that.
You do, and if you lose too many points, as Lindhoff going wide there, too many points lost, and there's just too much to do as we get later on in the season. That is the big important factors. We'll go and win the final 3 races, cool, but if you're you're 300-400 points behind, then you're never going to be able to do something with that. So got to be watching that, and that is the thing for Ericsson here. Is basically he's losing so many points right now. It doesn't matter if he's the fastest guy, it doesn't matter if he's a reigning champion. If he's not able to do that, then that's going to be tough.
Yeah, absolutely. Why sometimes a short season is better than a longer one, although I did enjoy the whole regular season playoffs last season through 24-25. Does limit the amount of surprises you can see by the end of the season. I mean, Jesper Eriksson in the end led from pretty much start to finish, but the fact that he's only got 6 more rounds after this one to make this up is going to make it very, very exciting to watch him try and do that as Bohlin puts the pressure on Lindhoff. Tries to lead again here through 3 and 4. Goes to the lower side. And will he get through? Doesn't look like it. Lindhoff is going to keep the place with a run off of turn 4 again.
And interestingly, both of these drivers are on 3 wins in this series. So they are obviously battling to the first driver to get to 4 wins. Lindhoff with 22 starts, Bohlin with 25, both on 3 wins. So very similar stats, to be honest. And now we're getting obviously Fredriksson not helping Bohlin too much. So the team games certainly not helping at all with these drivers. But what a battle this is between Lindhoff and Bohlin, by the way. They're pulling away from Broström as well. They are pushing each other to the limit to try and win this race. It looks like the Sim Race Sweden cars are fast out there. It looks like Lindhoff pulling Bohlin through. But as we continue on, this is going to be a very tough one. How are we looking in terms of the laps? So on 24, they've done 24 laps on the stint. They've got 27 to go. So that it is going to be a full tank to the end. So the tyres are certainly going to be struggling and crying.
Yeah, absolutely. They did at least select a point in the race where they could make it to the end, though, these guys from the front, and that is not the same all the way down the field. Lundberg and Barker are going to start to get very desperate indeed for a caution to come out at some point. Otherwise, they'll be in trouble. One in there with a lot of work on the wheel, and he realises it as well. A big sigh of relief after that.
Yeah, that just shows you how much. Look at the little micro corrections. It doesn't look like much of his hands, but the car really swings. You've seen the likes, the likes of the crashes that we've had today, where you just have that little oversteer. You just turn 5 degrees to the right, and then it grips up, and then the front pushes you off into the wall. It is so on the limit with these drivers, and especially as the tyres start wearing and moving about, that's going to be very difficult indeed. As we're already halfway through this green flag stint. Kenneth Thier's worked his way past Linus Broström as well, in behind. So Polski Logistics swapping around. Peter Helmbrough's got the run on the 71 machine as well. 77 goes high in his lime green livery, trying to get the run on the outside of 4. He's going to get a bit of a draft as well from Kenneth Thier. He's got the momentum as we work our way down the front stretch. 24 to go, and Helmbrough is coming. He's trying to get on the podium that Kenneth Thier now holds. So 2 places lost for Broström.
This is not ideal at all on a day where he should be taking advantage of Ericsson being down the field. the moment he is struggling to keep Helmbro behind him in this battle for third place, which feels like they're so far behind the actual leaders, it feels like a battle for the lead in itself. Although this is the battle for the actual lead. 5 seconds ahead of the rest of the field, completely on their own, 1 versus 1, Lindhoff and Bohlin.
Indeed, a look at the high line that he has to go as he works our way down the back straight. We've got a back marker going to the left-hand side. Bohlin looks to the inside, just goes off the quarter of the 8, tries to go low, trying to get the run. He's already planting the throttle, sliding up high. He'll get a bit of the draft down his front straight. But the problem is here, you're just always turning as well. So the slipstream's slightly less effective, but we've seen some good passing here today. Bohlin not able to work his way through. Lindhoff, he's doing a good job. He's positioning his car very well.
Yeah, he is. And these two both playing their part in this battle at the moment, which is good to watch with 22 to go. Bohlin again going to the inside, which you just feel like he's a little bit, comfortable with. Lindhoff, though, on the high side seems strong as well, and again gets his self in front again. 21 laps to go. This last 10 minutes or so going to fly by if it stays green like this all the way.
Certainly will. These drivers saying they've got 3 wins apiece. They've also got 6 and 7 top 5s apiece as well. So they're very, very tied on their stats, are these drivers. And they are going for another victory in this championship. This battle goes on, but it's not really side by side. Bohlin can't find a way to get side by side, which is very interesting, as Lars Bulka loses another place. Limburg gets past him and loses another one as well. Erling gets past him. So Bulka going backwards at this moment in time, and that's not good for Bohlin either as he goes up high. Oh, that's because Bulka's coming into pit lane as we got 20 laps remaining. Where is he on the oh yeah, he did 60 laps on that stint, so he didn't stop at the last caution as one before.
He really wanted a caution to come out before this point, and to be fair to him, there's been 30-odd laps, so it was reasonable of him to expect there'd be another one, but he can't rely on it entirely. And unfortunately, Erik Lundberg looks like he's about to fall into that trap as well. It would leave us with just 12 on the lead lap, all of them on the same strategy, running to the end of the race in a straight fight, which I'm hoping, to be honest, continues as Lundberg pits in, because that would mean Lindhoff versus Bohlin for another 18 laps at the line.
And you can't blame them, because with the amount of cautions that we saw earlier on, that strategy could have worked if we saw a caution, but we haven't. It's gone green for a long, long time now, and this battle still rages on at the front, and they're still pulling away from Kenneth Tier. So they're pushing each other to the limit. The Simrace Sweden sister cars to Lindhoff have gone out of the picture, and it's just a two-way battle on the track. And this has been amazing, to be honest, because there's 2 drivers obviously we know can win in this category. We see them up towards the front all the time, but they're missing some of their bigger rival and teammates in this battle, and it's left to themselves to get the win for their team. Polski Logistics on the inside, Simrace Sweden on the outside. Bohlin's going for the move down the front straight. We've got a back marker up ahead. That could cause him a problem as they work away through turn 1 and 2. And yes, Lindhoff is going to be blocked off a little bit. It's Jokashu in the 34 machine trying to get out of the way. We slide up almost contact as there's a draft for the 8 as well.
Just didn't quite have the space there on the outside. Did Bohlin to get where he wanted to. Shu goes to the outside, and so it's going to change here, because the lap car in between have just put a bit of an advantage and a bit of a breathing space now for Lindhoff. Doesn't look like Shu wants to get out of the way, but not easy to do that. Oh, and they enter at the same line as well. This is giving Lindhoff a few tenths of a second, and we'll see whether he can carry those all the way home.
Yeah, that wasn't ideal from the 34. To be honest, there's no one really around him. He could have made that a little bit nicer, considering it is the race lead. But, of course, he doesn't have to jump out of the way either. As we're seeing Kenneth Tier drop down. Has he been into the wall or something? He's dropped down to 6th position. Helmbro is now onto the podium, ahead of Brostrom as well. Your winner from last time, the 49, has had an issue there, and he's now quite a bit off as well, so he may not be able to recover to battle for that final podium place.
Suddenly Helmbro's the only driver in the top 5 who was there last week as well.
Oh.
Other than Brostrom. He's hit the wall hard there, and if Tier's got damaged, then that could cost him very, very dearly towards the end there.
Especially as Erling is only a second and a bit behind. This is getting very close, very tense indeed, but interesting for the championship standings. So Helmbro, he's 4th in the standings. He's up there on the podium once again. Tier leading, he's now down into 6th. Aurotson is the other driver. He's down in 12th place, the last driver on the lead lap. Marcus Stiller as well. He's there in 10th position. So it's a bit all over the place. Then we've got Broström and Ericsson. They're a bit up and down as well. Nanuvinen, who's dropped down. So it's all over the place. It's not going to be a static championship moving into the next round, which is what we like to see, to be honest. We want to keep it open. We've got Charlotte next, which is going to be a good race as well, as this battle for the lead continues very nicely indeed. Where was Lindhoff? I actually have a feeling that Lindhoff might not have had a good race. Yes, 16th place in the standings. So this could be big for him in the points. Yeah, see, 16th place in the race as well as he was. Has some penalty points as well for some reason. But yes, he does need this. But you can argue Bohlin does as well. He's even further down the championship. Both these two really do need a victory. At the very least, they just need to not crash into each other and both drop down the field. That's the thing that's mutually beneficial at the moment. But they both desperately want to win. We know that they are racing drivers after all, so it's going to be a big fight here. But Bohlin at the moment just can't seem to find his way past. He's got to skip past that lap car. Pretty slow on the inside. Not sure he would have got through anyway, but it certainly didn't help. Yeah, you saw him tense up a little bit there as he had to try and slot his way through without sliding up into the wall. Very, very tough situation to be in. Broström in 3rd place now, so he's got Helmbro. Gantz is looking good, though. There are just a couple of tenths between them. Tier's dropping down, so Erling's got him for 6th place. It's all changing, even though it may not look like it. It's a big, big change from what we saw 10 laps ago in the standings. A big dive to the inside for the 72. Can he finally get through? And he's trying, he's sliding up, almost contact between the two. As once again, you can see Bohlin as his eyes getting a little bit wider. We remain side by side in towards turn 1. This is for the lead. 10 laps to go in the Mabi 350. And the Pulse Logistics driver on that inside line trying to get himself through. But he doesn't have the room to slide up as Lindhoff holds the outside line.
Look at this. Side-to-side contact on the back straight as well. Lindhoff forced to the outside, but that's where he's been the whole time. Can Bohlin slide up in front of him here through 3 and 4? He's going to get so briefly in front, but Lindhoff's going to get the run at the line. 9 to go here.
This is an epic battle. It's been going on for 20 plus laps now, and it is getting very tense out there. Bohlin is getting inch by inch closer, side by side, but not enough to slide up in front. And if anything, Lindhoff has now got the momentum, and then down the back straight, a little bit further contact as well. He's trying to get that side draft as Bohlin and hold it down to the inside line. They're on the same strategy, on the same tyres. So it's all about the driving technique here. And at the moment, there's absolutely nothing between them.
Trying so hard to get the side draft there that he hit him quite hard, and so I'm not sure whether he intentionally gave that one up or whether he couldn't get through anyway, but he's going to have to restart, try and go again. He's not quite alongside as they come off of 2 this time.
This is an epic battle, and this is what we love to see in the Bohlin Svenska Eracingligan. And as much as quite a few things have changed this year in terms of the structure of the races, the calendar, the format, the car, we're having some great battles once again. And these two drivers, they're currently sitting in 16th and 20th in the standings after a tricky first round of the season, and they're going to shoot themselves back up into the championship contention. But who is going to get the win? Their 4th win in this championship it would be for either of the drivers. Down the back straight, we've got 6.5 laps remaining in this race. Once again, the inside line, it seems to be okay to get side by side, but not quite enough to pass.
Yeah, very difficult to pass, it looks like, and just taking Lindhoff out of that outside line seems to be what he's got to do here. But how on earth do you go about that when you're on the front straight, or indeed anywhere, anytime you want to be running near the wall? He's absolutely there with no car length width alongside. And when there is space up there, you don't want to be up there either. He hits the wall this time. Bohlin trying harder, but it gets more difficult as he tries harder here to make the overtake.
Yeah, this is so tight, so on the limit. But I think Bohlin needs to somehow go to the outside. The issue is Lindhoff is basically riding the wall, Homestead style. trying to not lose that position. It's so close between these guys. 5 laps remaining as we get so close on the inside. 7.5 miles in this race, but Bohlin once again going wide, so he goes low and then just understeers on the exit of 2 and 4.
And it just seemed that everybody's got more of a handle on the car handling here, the oversteer, but the corrections are still having to be made. You can see that. It's a good run from Bohlin this time round. He's got the big slipstream from Lindoff. Only 4 laps to go, though. It's going to have to be desperation stuff soon.
As he taps the wall in the entry of 1, he goes very low. He dives down. He gets up to the quarter of the 8, but once again, not enough. But he pushes the 8 into the wall in terms of he's putting the pressure on the 8 to do that line. The 8 goes into the wall. And is there going to be another twist in this tail? We're coming to 3 to go. And this is getting tight. 4.5 miles remaining. Let's see what we do on the next front straight. Bohlin at some point, I think, needs to try and get to the outside of Lindoff, try and scare him off in some way, make him push on the braking zone, go high into the wall, but not this time. The 8 is doing such a good job. He comes down very quickly, though. This might be the run the 72 needed. The 8 was not fast off too, and this is the best opportunity he's had so far. 2 laps remain at the line, and the 72 might just hit the front. He needs to slide up in front of the 8. He's so far alongside. Surely he's got to do it this time around, and he has done, and he takes the lead with 2 to go.
Wow, that was finally the line. You can see the first signs of a smile on his face as well, as Lindoff now has to try and do the same. He entered sort of through the middle. That's where he entered. Lindoff saw that happening in the mirrors. Oh, he dived a bit lower than that, though. Lindoff nearly into him. Oh, that's so close, and Bohlin gets away with it. There was so nearly contact there, but Bohlin's now just got a lap and a half to hold on to what would be a brilliant victory here.
And I think the 8 is a faster car. He's bumped the back of him, though. Is there going to be a final crash? We've had such a long green flag run to the line. The Mabi 350 hits the white flag, and it's currently the Mabi driver of Oliver Bohlin leading the way in the 72 for Polski Logistics. Around the outside, the 8 is going to go. Lindoff for Simrace Sweden, but he doesn't have enough. He's going to have to back out of that one to not hit the wall, and the 72 is a few car lengths as we come up to 3 and 4. He worked so hard for 30 laps. He finally made the move with 3 to go, and as we come through 3 and 4 for the final time of asking, the 72 of Oliver Bohlin will take victory after a tremendous overtake with just a few miles to go, and he takes victory here at Chicagoland. Lindoff, he'll be so disappointed not to get the victory after a hard-fought battle, but he will take 2nd place after a tough first round of the season.
Oh, that was an excellent race between the two of them. Really stop-start in the first 100 laps or so, but the final 50 being taken on under green, and that's what you get from a long green flag run. Even when there's not really strategy, there's no pit stops, you get a brilliant battle between 2 great drivers. Oliver Bohlin and Henrik Lindoff absolutely fought for that. Either of them deserved to win, but it's Bohlin in the end. What a great pass it was as well. After laps and laps and laps of learning what was going to work and what wasn't, he entered at the perfect line, just off the top line, not having his air taken away from Lindoff, but also having access to the low side, which he then took through the middle of the corner, using gravity and the slope of the turn to come down to the low side and then get the run on the exit, get straight through on Lindoff, get clear of him off of 4. It was a great pass and a great battle to end that race.
Yeah, you called that perfectly. The long green run allows you to have those opportunities to learn what the other driver is doing. And when you have caution-filled races, you just get a bit more desperate. You try something that doesn't really work. Whereas here, he worked out what was going to work and then executed it perfectly. As soon as Lindoff went a little bit too high, going through turns 1 and 2, he saw the opportunity, dived down there. And that is what you want. And he's having a nice burnout with Linus there as well, serving us some donuts to finish the race here at Chicagoland. What a finish that was. And after 145 laps of action, it was Bohlin and the 72 Polski Logistics taking victory with Lindoff in 2nd place. Broström will be rounding out podium finish, and Helmbro, another solid result there in P4. For MHE Racing, that is going to put him very nicely in the standings as we get to round number 3. Gantz and Erling with some solid performances there inside the top 6. So MHE Racing having the 2nd best team result as well. Joel Bohlin is going to be in P7 after an up and down race. He certainly had some speed in that car today. Bjorn Broström will be 8th. Kenneth Tier in 9th, and Marcus Diller from the back is P10. Forsberg and Aronson will be the final drivers on the lead lap, with Lundberg and Bulka a lap down. Then we had Jokashu, Uvenen, who had some speed again today, 2 laps down, Lundqvist 4, then Fredriksson, Ericsson and Holm inside your top 20. Ericsson getting that fastest lap point as well on lap 19 after having probably the fastest car on the field today. Eck and Leuven, then Motin, Kjellberg, Schott, and then some drivers obviously DNFing way early on in the race. Gunnarsson, Ericsson and Forsen as well. Some big names down there that could have got involved, but unfortunately that's what happened. We had a lot of cautions in the first half of the race. The second half went a little bit more green. And let's get a word with Oliver Bohlin, driver of the 72, taking his 4th victory in the series. And Oliver, that was an amazing performance. You had some speed in that car all day, but just talk about that final stint. It was just you and Henrik. It was a 1v1 battle, and you managed to come out on top. Well done.
Yeah, it was a really stressful battle, and yeah, all props to Henrik. Raced really clean. We had a really good fight. I thought I wouldn't have enough, but yeah, in the end, I managed to get by. So.
Yeah, just tell us what it was like at the end there. Because the start of the race, or the first half of the race, was very stop-start, loads of cautions, loads of thinking. You played the long game, you got yourself in a good position. And then you had 50 laps to look at Henrik, look at his line, work out where you could get past. Was that quite fun to every lap you went down low to try and get the speed, to try and get the run?
It was quite frustrating, to be honest, not being able to get really close, because he did a very good job there. So, but it was a bit frustrating, and but yeah, it was a good fight. That was very nice to have a good long run at the end and not a lot of cautions.
Exactly, and halfway through that stint, you had Ericsson and Fredriksson, the Sim Race Sweden teammates, getting involved. Did you think there was going to be a little bit more drama there? In the end it worked out, but were you getting quite worried at that point?
Well, I knew they were gonna, of course, help their teammate in a way, but not in a dirty way, so to say. So yeah, just had to live with it and do the best of the situation. And yeah, it worked out fine in the end, got through cleanly and everything. So
yeah, absolutely, you had a great job today, amazing pace and awesome move. So yeah, congratulations, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you very much.
Perfect. Then we'll bring in the number 8 of Henrik Lindhoff for Sim Race Sweden. What a race, Henrik. You had amazing pace today, and I mean in general Sim Race Sweden as well. It's a shame that your teammates had some bad races, because you certainly were fast out there. But firstly, let's talk about that final stint. You were leading for basically the whole race at the end until the final 3 laps. Just talk about the move where you lost the lead.
Yeah, I mean, I usually don't drive this car ever, and I haven't been participating in this series for about 3 years or so. So I went a bit too hard on the tires, and I paid the price at the end.
Yeah, you were certainly fast in the opening part of the stint. How did you find the first half of the race? Actually, first, you had so many cautions. Was it quite difficult to keep your head in the game, or were you always waiting for those final 50 laps?
No, it was quite hard, because I with the pit stops and incidents happen and everything like that, it just shuffles the order all the time. So yeah, you need to really keep it clean all the way through, if you can, and yeah, just take the chances in the restarts. You still need to be aggressive, otherwise you don't have any chance at the end. So it's a bit of a give and take there.
Yeah, you had 5 pit stops compared to Oliver Bohlin's 2 pit stops. Do you think, I mean, obviously quite a big difference there. Do you think there's anything else you could have done, or was it all about just, I guess the time management, as you say?
Yeah, I think it was the tire management, actually, not knowing what will happen with the tires. So I think that was the the biggest issue here, and I haven't practiced anything either, so it was about 15 minutes before the race I jumped in and did some laps. So yeah, I'm still happy with second, but of course losing it with 3 corners to go, it sucks. It really sucks.
Yeah, it certainly does. But as the season progresses, you'll get more experience with the car again. Do you think that win is there on a normal day? You know, with the likes of Jesper not having a crash, do you think you can beat him, for instance?
Yeah, I always think I can beat Jesper, but no, he's really good in this car, as he's proven so many times. So that's going to be difficult, but I will try, of course.
Yeah, perfect. So yeah, congratulations today, at least for a second place. That will certainly be some nice points for the championship. So yeah, good job, and we'll speak to you soon.
Thank you.
And then lastly, we will bring in Linus Broström of the 71 for Polski Logistics. And of course, the sponsor on your car, Mabi, as well, sponsoring today's race. So big thanks to them. Linus, your race was up and down today. I'm sure that was pretty chaotic from your point of view.
Yeah, I don't really know where to start. Well, obviously, thanks, first of all, to Mabi, Hyrbilar, and all our other sponsors. I don't even know what happened in this race, to be honest. There was just so much. But I know that we pitted on the first caution to get fuel to make it to the stage, which obviously didn't matter in the end because there were more cautions. And yeah, I don't know where to begin. Stage result was pretty good, finishing second, even though all the Sim Race Sweden cars and other cars had fresh tires. Jesper came flying through, but then when I got into second, for some reason, everyone's pace just died off. For some reason, pace and new tires lasted like 10 laps, and then it was just even for the rest of the run. It was really weird. And then towards the end of the race, which is pretty much the only part I can remember after hitting Lindhoff, you know, everyone had pace coming and going. I was quicker than Peter and everyone passing them, caught up to Kenneth, past him, and then all of a sudden they came past me, and then I passed them back again. So I don't know if you saw the finish between me and Peter either, but a really good battle there at the end. So overall, I had a really fun race, but I'm just so confused about this whole event. So I don't really know what to say, to be honest.
Yeah, I think when you go into the stewards room in a bit, you'll see there was a lot of drivers struggling. There's so many of the crashes today that caused the cautions were single car crashes where they just lost the rear end, overcorrected and went into wall. Was that something to do with the conditions, to the setup that you guys were all running? What do you think that was about?
I don't know. I mean, it's an old track. iRacing have updated pretty much all the NASCAR tracks. I don't think this one got an update. I'm not 100% sure on that, but it's really bumpy. So the setup is pretty good when it's not bumpy, but when you run over the bumps, especially going into turn 3 and then there are some bumps in turn 2, it can unsettle real quick. And then obviously the air moving around from this car is very different from the Xfinity car. It's very sensitive. You know, and just one little lack of concentration can just send you around. And yeah, like you saw what happened to Kenneth there, like 15 laps from the end or whatever, out of the corner, out of nowhere, it can just let go as well. So I don't really know what that is, but I guess it's to do with the condition of the track, with it being really old. So yeah, in the end, I'm happy that I was able to hold on to 9th though, so got a good result for him still.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be a really close championship. So thanks for coming to talk to us, and yeah, enjoy the stewards room in a few moments' time.
Yeah, thank you. Great as well to start off with the new team, being winner of the first 2 races, 1-2 and then 1-3 here. So can't really ask for much more for our Polski Logistics esports racing team. Thank you, guys.
No worries. See you later, Linus. And that concludes round 2 of the season here. The Bohlin Svenska Eracingligan's round number 2 at Chicagoland, the Mabi 350. We go to the Cancer Awareness 400 at Charlotte in a couple of weeks' time, where we'll go to the 3rd round of the season. Will we see, the Polski Logistics guys going to the front, or will it be Sim Race Sweden coming after just missing out on victory? But we'll be back at the road course series next week as well at Eracingligan. So that's going to be a whole load of fun in the Porsche Cup. That is on the 16th of October. The week after, 23rd, we'll be back here for the Oval Series, alternating every week on RaceSpotTV. It's myself, Cam Roger, and Ewan O'Leary alongside me, and of course, Hugo Louise on the production as well. And until next time, we wish you a very warm goodbye.